20th day of May. It is Tuesday, bright and early. Hope you're getting to a good morning as you watch Morning Express. We have a good show for you today. Very good show. Traffic is on my 3 routes updates. A truck broken down at the railways bridge on Uhuru Highway on the way to town. It is causing traffic there. And as my iPad decides to turn around. Somebody's stuck on Mombasa Road heading to the airport because of the traffic. It's a parking lot already this early. Did you see something, anything coming from that side other than...
Nothing.
Oh, you actually moved.
It's good.
Are you still outside?
Yeah.
Okay.
The next governor.
No fog.
The airport road.
And we'll continue to tell you what's happening on the roads. But so far, not too good on Mombasa Road and on Uhuru Highway. Already a parking lot being seen there. And
watu wa Maembili wachamka leo?
Watu wa?
Maembili. Maji moja.
So,
anyway, let's get to the newspaper.
Somebody was asking you know, smart, they say, came with the ferry. Kuja na meli yo jina.
I actually want to start with this because I'm ready and willing to go full length and full on to this.
So do you wonder what Jim's other name is, like his, ethnic name? So, for example, if it's Odopudolo. So, guess, tweet me at Sophia Wanuna, what do you think James' other name is? Whoever wins shall have a great surprise for you. I'm serious. Tweet. What's James' other name?
Well, at it, I'll take you to a journey of Maembili in Roy. I'll show you where it is. Sophia Wanuna actually came from.
Well, let's move on. The press review, very important to you this morning. What's making headlines in the dailies? The Standard, leading with Anglo Leasing, and it's a blame game that has been renewed and the battle lines redrawn. Okay,
President Uhuru says is damned if he pays, damned if he doesn't. Agony of defining 1.4 billion payment for contracts he described as a scam in 2006 as leader of opposition.
Right.
174 billion sovereign bond at stake if Anglo Leasing ghosts are not paid.
Exactly, and you have the other leaders there, and also the Law Society of Kenya chair. You have the judiciary, the CJ, as well weighing in on the matter. But what we're also engaging with you this morning is what the Attorney General said, because initially, fingers were squarely pointed at his office, and he's now saying he just, as state law office, they looked at the issue at hand and advised, and that the biggest problem or this issue goes way back. Yes,
so pointing fingers to ask the people who signed this contract, ask Musalia Mudavadi, go and ask former AG Amos Hawako, and such. And I think it's a matter of, that blame game, if you like, and, people just saying, look elsewhere, not here, if you want to find out what's happening with Anglo Leasing. So the agency say, listen, I just give advice, and the client, like he says, takes it. Uhuru says, listen, that AG's office is the one that lost the case. Treasury says, we need to get instructions from someone.
Yes.
We have to pay.
Right. And it's continued coverage in the Standard really today on page 2 and 3 is the return of the Anglo Leasing, and LSK petitions Parliament to remove Githu as it appeals against court ruling. So LSK is not letting up. I mean, they've even sent a letter to the Law Society of the United Kingdom, and this is just to ensure that they have a clear picture in as far as how this played out from the beginning, and as far as those court processes there. Of course, the AG has said they put their best foot forward. LSK has argued otherwise, that in fact they did not exhaust the appeal options that perhaps were available.
It is true. I think we'll have LSK possibly, giving her a statement today on that issue of them going to England to find, if there's anything possible that the AG could have done and should have done and didn't do, or anything that can be done, I think, moving forward. Because as it is now, I think we're all saying, well, listen, it's pay up or, lose, the Eurobond.
Right. And also on page 6, you have TNA coming out to defend Jubilee. It's telling off the rivals of a mass action. We saw that Kibra or Kibera rally, if you like, and calls for the same over corruption and some of the dealings and what has been happening in government. And they're saying, they're telling them off over what it is they're saying they'll do. And party claims some members of CORD were in office when deals were initiated.
Indeed, and 3 Jubilee MPs have asked President Uhuru Kenyatta to unmask the face behind the Anglo Leasing scam before 1.4 billion is paid out to 2 firms. That's Njogu Barua of the Shogo, Julius Ndegwa, Lamu West, and James Bet Keses. So they supported the 1.4 billion payout, but demanded that the head of state first reveals those involved. Who is being paid these monies?
Did I also threaten in court, that is, to impeach Uhuru as payment trial rages on, and to this TNA has said, bring it on, try, and let's see how far you can go with that particular proposal to impeach the president. So from the front page all through to page 7, it is comprehensive, very detailed coverage of the return of Anglo Leasing in the Standard newspaper.
Absolutely. Shall we?
Shall we move on to the Daily Nation? Yes, we shall. Daily Nation. Probe claims of plots to kill me, says Raila. He's asking the authorities to probe those claims that have been made by his brother, his elder brother. And he's also saying that not all Anglo Leasing deals were fake.
Yes.
Interesting wing there.
I think about there's a Nexus border surveillance that was delivered under the Navy ship.
Right.
So there were, these were many contracts, if you like. It's the nature of the things that were put there, that some that were never delivered and were fictitious. But some of it, 2 of them that have been mentioned there, actually were delivered.
Isn't it interesting, James, to see that whilst his other members in the CORD coalition are focusing on the payment and how bad it is, he comes in with a different approach. Sort of like looks like he's defending the government in as far as the whole Anglo Leasing is concerned. He's pulling a different angle completely.
Appears. I think what he's trying to be as realistic as possible. Okay. He was part of the NAC government in that time of 2002 up to 2005,
right.
And they eventually fired, and then got back into the Grand Coalition government. So it's part of it. So he understands it a bit better in detail. What I think is important for people to know, and I think what possibly people in the government have not done a good job in, is to point out what contracts per se are being paid. This one that is being paid for are relating into communication, telecommunication.
Right.
This one, not the security contracts. So I think the people in government have not done a good job into demystifying what Anglo Leasing was all about. So in effect, they've just told us, we have to pay, and it appears that we're paying, deals that we don't know, things that we don't know. And that, I think, is the problem with the Anglo Leasing and about government communication in this particular point.
All right. In page 2 in the Daily Nation, again, still Raila, who's still in the United States, challenges the police over threats to his life, so saying that this need to be taken more seriously. He's defending also the standard gauge railway and some of the contracts linked to Anglo Leasing, but criticizes county commissioners. Again, continuation of that story we were talking about.
Absolutely.
So quite. But finally, on Anglo Leasing, on page 4, a story continuing from the front page is revealed owners of farms in the 1.4 billion shillings deal. So the Attorney General yesterday, was just mentioning some of those names and did mention businessman Anura Pereira, because we've not had, and it has always come across as though they're just shadowy figures, shadowy firms, but he's saying some names.
Yeah, I think this is what the president, from what yesterday and from what political pundits are saying, that what the president should have done on Thursday or Friday when he called a press conference, we should have to say these names. They did not even say these names, just gave documents. So it was for us to go and peruse and find out who are the shareholders and whatnot. What they should have done is say, we are paying Anura Pereira, Farm A, we are paying, that is what they should have done. Say, well, fine, so we put them in public so that it's not ghosts we're paying. Who are these people?
It is good to see some of those names there. Back page, county commissioners, county MPs, I beg your pardon, battle for funding pays off. And Treasury allocates women lawmakers 2 billion shillings in the next financial year. And when you say it's good to see the names there, it's good to see some light being shed. That could have been misconstrued to mean something else.
Light being shed where?
Well, it's just not hearing about companies and people and imagining who those could be. So, yeah, women reps have won the first round of their battle for an equivalent of the Constituency Development Fund after Treasury gave them 2.03B in the next financial year. So they also have some money to...
Some fund of some sort.
Yeah. And it's that story we saw develop yesterday. The Star headline today, 6 Sect members still missing, whilst 7 bodies of Mungiki members were exhumed. And again, graphic pictures really... I think that headline picture, it's...
Yeah.
I mean, that's bad.
Well, we've spoken about this, and I think it's the Star, you know, the bullies.
I think they're on a mission, man.
Yes.
Cover, like, look at the picture in the other dailies. They're covered. You know, you don't do that. I don't know. This is bad.
I don't know what it adds to the story. I don't know.
Shock factor?
To what effect? To what end?
Well, there's an interesting one here as well. Lovers urge Pope to let priests marry. So some women in Italy have come together and they're saying they're dating some priests, and they've written a letter to the Pope saying, I mean, they're now having to live a life of lies, sort of a secret life, and yet they'd want to just love in public. Priest James, you know, and so and so.
You once told us that one of your greatest wish was to be a nun. I don't know if you'd be part of these people who are writing letters now. To be allowed to marry some priest. Anyway.
Let's just say I am pursuing, I'm in my mission. This is a ministry I have been called to.
With?
Yes, I don't need to write letters.
Okay.
We're good.
You're permitted.
All right, still matter suspects in fresh appeal for bail is on page 4, where also Wambora is to remain in office for now. That's what a judge has ruled. I just think Wambora is the most stressed man.
He should leave. I don't know what his problem is. Honestly, I'm not a resident of is it Hembu?
You just say Hembu.
But I feel
Hembu.
Frustrated by this.
You're not a Hembu resident.
I'm not a Hembu resident.
It's okay. The Hembu people will forgive you for Hembuing their county. Get a rub it in, Mr. Udupololo. The people finally today. Anglo Leasing, ask Mudavadi, ask Wako. So there you go again. This finger pointing. It wasn't me. It was so and so. So this likely to continue playing out. But also the people is covering Linturi versus Waiguru.
National MPs signed petition to back impeachment onslaught against the devolution CS over NYS.
Yep, so some people are still very unhappy with that appointment to the new head of NYS, and Waiguru finds herself with those crosshairs. Also, Ngilu transfers 100 from Adi House. Cleanup exercise goes on even after the reopening of the central registry. So she's keen to continue with what she feels are efforts to clean up that Arthi House. And of course, we will continue to follow there. Those developments. What's that?
What?
Innocent Ride or Springboard for Love in Motion. Did anyone see, and it was trending, I'm sure most people did, that apology finally on what's trending online, or was trending yesterday?
Yes.
So
by
this man,
former Harambee Stars goalkeeper Francis Onyuso, who's also, I think, a sergeant. Somewhere, I think, in
what
Nakuru,
did he do to his wife?
Well, he made a phone call apparently to the radio station and said, well, you know, let me tell you how my situation with my wife started.
Yes.
It was a one-night thing, and then finally, it's 20 years later, and she's still here from her one-night situation. So the wife identified the husband's, voice, and she caused hell. So the fellow had to apologize publicly, for causing that embarrassment to their family.
Her word
and
is
it should not
firm.
happen again.
Wow.
I think he said that.
Yeah, it never repeat again. That's
Never.
what the exact
Yes.
word. I tell you, apologies in the dailies. That is the way Kenya is moving.
It's nothing.
Watu wakileta shida nyumbani,
It's nothing.
apology. Full page, pull out, standard. I James Smart.
Front page.
Front page.